Gooch today, and this is our third LinkedIn Live together, and we're learning as we're going. Hopefully, what we're sharing is something of value and that you could have some takeaways you can actually put to use right after the show. Uh, I've had tremendous experience and success over the last couple years. Tara's on a hot streak, and is getting better every day. So, it's really who you're with as much as what you're with. And I've been with some mediocre people with great opportunities and never worked out. And I've been with great people and mediocre opportunities and it always worked out. So it's who you're with. Collaboration is key. Today, we really want to go over some of the nuances of LinkedIn. Superficially, it looks real easy. You just connect with people and then they do everything else for you. And, you don't have to worry about it, but that's never the case. So it's really about how you build, who you build with. And what I've noticed in my opportunities in the last 2 years, how little you appreciate what you've already acquired because you think that's in the bank and now you just go get more. And really, when you connect, you're at the beginning of the beginning. And how you expand it, extend it, how you stair step it is so key. Tara, what's your thoughts on your ability to, really provide a lot of thought leadership at the same time focused on collaboration?
Absolutely. So, and I think it begins with the thought, we've talked about this, Don, that, the energy you put out is reciprocated back to you. So when you put out lots of, positive messages that are thought provoking, that really drive a conversation, that's when you bridge that gap from connection to relationship to potentially business partner or beyond. And yes, it really is possible. I have gotten business partnerships because it started from a comment, believe it or not.
Hmm.
And, it may not have even been a post that I did, but someone else had a thought provoking post that caused pause, right? That caused me to think, self reflect, look at something from a new, exciting perspective, maybe by leaving a super thoughtful comment on their post, tagging them. It really resonates with people. And, people are so grateful when something that they've written or published is, resonates with somebody else. And it starts that human connection. And I think, going just thinking about humans in general, we just want to be heard. We want to be heard. We want to be understood. And we want the things that we say to resonate with other people. That's how we connect. That's how we bridge those gaps. And it really is possible on LinkedIn to comment on someone's post and to form a relationship network that, can lead to business opportunities. I've done it. Um, and it's also possible for you to post and that same reciprocal energy happen for you as well. So starting off with super thoughtful things, either comments on other people's posts or comments on your own, are just ways to attract that right energy to you. But it starts with original thinking, something that's very thought provoking, I think.
Yeah, that's so profound and so valuable
Yeah.
because when you look at it, it's all how you can personalize and style your projection, right? You're you, and you need to be authentic and be all of the you are and bring the best you to the table. But the key is how do you get to be liked, trusted? And the key is, I believe, third party validation, right? So if someone will speak of you to other people who they have a lot of influence and credibility, that's better than you talking to those people because there's always going to be an idea of self interest. So let me share my screen because the other thing you brought up that you must have heard what I was thinking is I was a tagging expert. I tagged 125 people every day for 2 years. And I'll show you what became of it. And I became a facilitator of one of the strongest thought leadership groups on LinkedIn. I'll share my screen. So let's go to, I think this might be it. And let's do this. Okay, so this was a post, right? And basically what I did, and let me see if I can, is it moving?
I don't see that it's moving.
Okay.
I can see your post though.
Yeah. So anyways, make it easy on everybody. What I did is I tagged about 125 people.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they would respond, like you mentioned. I'll stop the share for now. And that would create a lot of relevant activity right after the post.
Yep.
And LinkedIn's algorithm starts to look at, they only give about 5% of your audience on your initial post. Based on what happens after that, they try to match audiences with your post and with the people who are commenting. So that's where engagement pods don't work, is if you have a bunch of relevant people in irrelevant areas who are supporting you, even if LinkedIn gives you more audience, they're going to give you more of the same, right? So if you just go for a select group, and what I've been able to do is I've been able to find people who collectively have up to 1 million followers and be able to support them. And there's this one really neat lady who what I try to do is make my first interaction a valuable one to them.
Yes.
So I had this other technique that was the connection of the day. And I make a post just about that person.
Wow,
And,
that's great.
yeah, and I sent it to him, and I said, I'm having a little trouble. I'll try to share my screen one more time.
It works when it works, Yeah,
it just, on, because I think it's valuable.
Yeah, definitely. I have my fair share of streaming issues, so I totally understand.
So basically, okay. If I put in, let's say, no, I can't. Anyways, I'll stop sharing. But what happened is I sent this wonderful lady the link to the article, and she sent me back. So I said, "Boy, you made my week. I'm so blah blah blah." And it was really to your point, is you need to have currency when you go trying to engage and acquire quality connections. It's just like going to the market. So the first questions people ask is, who is this person?
Yep.
Kind of what do they want? And what's in it for me? And if you can say that what's in it for them has already happened, right? It's not a conversation to have a conversation. It's a conversation to review a quality element.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, in LinkedIn, it's all about who goes first, how long do you wait, how long do you wait to go back, and how bad or how important are they to meet, right? So that's more strategic. It's not throwing it out to the universe, having 200 people respond. Now you're sitting there trying to filter it out and figure who's who. But now the challenge is you've got an obligation to the people who responded. The reason I stopped tagging is because I didn't have the time to respond to 150 comments a day,
Yeah.
knowing that only 10% were relevant. And so it was a matter of time versus return on time. And anytime you keep yourself focused on a time frame, then it limits expansion beyond maybe the niche. So if you only have 2 hours, if something comes in for 10 minutes, something needs to leave for 10 minutes or has to get better at whatever you're doing. So I think that's really the next level of thinking on LinkedIn. And then at the end of the day, the currency really falls into place because what are you going to do to continue to pay for it? Right? If you're a one trick pony, right, and you did the best you could, and now it's like, what do we do now? And it's just, it's like having plants. You got to continue to support them and water them and nurture them. And connections, if they're not as motivated as you are, need you to get more motivated towards them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's only so much energy, there's only so much time. And the thing is what you're proving is what you're willing to do to continue to support them. And hopefully they'll see that's something you can continue to do after they get together. Because
Absolutely.
you're not just competing with people, you're competing with time. So what's your thoughts, Tara?
Wow, I think you dropped a lot of wisdom there. But absolutely, you're very correct. The one thing I want to hit on that you said is adding value. So important. And to be the first one to do that, be the first one to reach out your hand and say how grateful you are for that connection. And it doesn't matter, if you have, I have 27,000 followers, you have 37,000 something odd followers, Don. If somebody connects with us that has 900 followers, I'm still going to reach out and say, thank you. I appreciate that connection. And to never, always remember to just never be above that act of, reciprocity, act of gratitude, because it does mean a lot to people. And there's a reason why people connect with you. They've seen something of your content, or maybe it's something in your headline or something like that that is intrinsically either motivating to them or interesting. So, take it as a compliment. Somebody is trying to connect with you. They are trying to learn from you. Reach out, say, how can I add value to this person? Or like you did, connection of the day. I've never heard of that. And I think that is such an interesting idea. And with my connections, with my network, I try to, continually give acts of reciprocity all the time. Shout outs on, to people if I've had a really good conversation with them. If we've had a one-on-one talk, something like that. If I've helped them, if they've helped me, put it out there. Put it out there on LinkedIn that you're talking to other members. I think not enough people do that. But like you said in the beginning, going back to third party validation, how important is that to have these third party validations going on so that you are active, so that other people can see, oh, wow, she's connected with him, that person, and the other.
Mhm.
And they had a good experience working with her or with him. Wow, maybe I can do the same. Maybe I should reach out. Maybe I should do business with, right? Maybe I should get to know on a deeper level. So it starts with the reciprocity and the gratefulness, and not just trying to sell somebody something immediately. It's about going to a deeper level, getting to know that person, being a thought leader, giving value, right? I think that's so important, Don. You hit that right on the head.
Yeah, and I think that's always a common thread. And the other common thread is relevancy,
Yes.
right? So relevant people aligned for relevant vision or philosophy, because what you don't want to do is go in two different directions at the same time, having to deal with the people issues, because to get to one to make three, there has to be a benefit in the blend, right? There has to be a complement or a resource that's over and above the benefit of either one individually. And then people like to see people interacting, right? Anybody sitting there on a screen talking seems like a director or a teacher, or advisor versus just friendly chit chat among people who are in the game
Mm-hmm.
and want to see who else is in the game. The benefit of what I do is I'm just into LinkedIn. So everybody I'm talking with has already bought into LinkedIn. So I'm not selling them on LinkedIn. Everybody is got a plan or no plan, but I'm sure they would all be interested in winning and being more successful and having a better quality of life. So the question is never about LinkedIn because I can show you individuals. Actually, in another group I'm in, there's a lady who's just killing it. I mean, just killing it. She's getting 880,000 views of video. She's been on MSNBC. I mean, and then she did another one for 700,000 and 400,000. I mean, just she's only been doing it 2 months.
Wow.
So, but she's got that personality, you know, and she also got tied in with someone who connects people with people, you know, at networks and stuff like that. So, you know, it's what you know and then who you know and vice versa. And that's the key is what stage do you want to play on? And
Mm-hmm.
how do you get on that stage and continue to expand your presence? Because if LinkedIn does all the heavy lifting and takes all the risk and creates all this opportunity, if there's people who are doing outrageous things and getting outrageous results, it proves it works. The question, can someone work it like that other person who's working it? But then again, you know, there's a big difference between 800,000 views and two, right? So if someone can just go to 10, but
Yeah.
understand what's getting them to 10. You see, I think a lot of people look at LinkedIn like it's NBC, like you put a spot on and everybody sees it like a program. And the only people who can see it are the people you've built
Yes.
into that opportunity. So that's the key. Would you rather have 10 people who know 100,000 people each and can promote you, or would you rather have 100,000 followers, have 10 people who follow them?
Mm-hmm.
And until you know where all the doors are and what's behind them and how to open them and how to get into them and get out of them, you know, you're fumbling around, you're taking too much time, you know, and that's why everything I'm about is collaboration and collaboration groups, because it's that knowledge share, it's
Yes.
that empathetic support, and you can make things very cost efficient for people who want to learn from others and are willing to split the time with others. I mean, one
Mm-hmm.
on one is great for people who want all that time, but do they, you know, if you're getting an hour from one person and you're getting an hour from six people, right? Which is superior?
Yep.
And now you can say, you know, among the six, I love what you're doing. I want to promote you versus if you promote me, I'll promote you. If we do this, we'll do that. That's like tying two legs together, right?
Yeah.
Like a potato sack race or something. So, you know, and that's key. And that's what I ask people is, what do you want to do? You know,
Yeah.
they have to do that first. You know, what are you willing to do it? And then what kind of person are you that who would want to promote you or give you third party validation? Because when you do, you're putting your credit, you know, the benefit is the person receiving it. The risk is the person giving it and getting it. And they don't want to say, hey, I just started up with Shirley, and boy, was that a disaster. As opposed to, you know, I just met Tara, got her on a show, did something, blah, blah, blah. And now there's something going on. Because here's the thing, there's almost 900 million people on LinkedIn. That's
Yep.
a lot of people. You know, that's like
Yes.
3 USAs almost. So the key then is, how do you show up? Who do you show up with, like we talked about, the value you bring, like you mentioned, and how do they get in the game? Because, see, that's the other aspect. Just to say, I'm doing the great things, knocking it out of the park, boy, this is fun, and how is everybody else doing? I mean, that's demoralizing. You need to come across with a story that says, if I can do it, you can do it. And if you do what I do, you'll get what I get. And that's simple, now the responsibility shifts into the other person. And now lately I've been asking people, so what do you want to do?
Yep.
We could talk and I'm happy talking, but what's the purpose? What's the goal? And that way you never want to be the smartest person in the room, right?
Nope.
So you want to be able to learn from other people. So what's your thoughts, Tara? I mean, I know me and you can really go off on 3, 4, 5 minute journeys,
No,
but
I know. First off, you are absolutely 100% right. So I've got a good friend. His name's Stu Heinecke. He is a New York Times bestselling author. He recently wrote a book. It's called How to Grow Your Business Like a Weed. I took the lessons from that book and applied it to LinkedIn. Exactly what you're talking about, Don, which is so many LinkedIn members right now are using one-to-one leverage. Big mistake.
Mhm.
Big mistake. Using one-to-one leverage, you will get this far, maybe a little here and then back. When you pair with others and collaborate, just like what we're doing right now, we're expanding our networks. This is going to all 5 of my channels right now, and it's going on your channels right now. We are acting like a weed. We're infiltrating. And what that means is we're spreading our seeds. That's what needs to happen. You need to have multi-channels and you need to do it with other people and collaborate, because if you only are working on one-to-one leverage, and I mean, Don, you've been an entrepreneur, you know how it works. So many entrepreneurs fail because they think they can do it all themselves, right? They don't have a team, they don't have a support system, they don't have all of these things that are required in business to succeed. And the same thing is applied on LinkedIn right now.
Mhm.
Don't operate on one-to-one leverage. I promise you, you will go like this, maybe here and then down again. It absolutely favors relationships. This network is a relationship-based network and it's a professional network, and we should utilize others' platforms. But in all fairness, in a strategic and intelligent way, right? It's all about that strategy, but this is one of those elements of the strategy too that I help teach my clients, is not operating on one-to-one leverage, because you'll never get past one. When you
That's
utilize others' networks, that's when you expand, that's when you grow. That's when you prosper, right?
mhm. That's so true. And I think if people just listen to what we're saying and can absorb it, because here's the other thing, Tara, that's important about not doing one-on-one. It's
Yep.
not fair to either party, because
No.
you can only talk to one person, which means you can only help one person,
Yes.
but also means that person has to justify your hour.
Yes.
Now, if you get 20 people on a workshop or a topic, and now all of a sudden the cost is 10% of what it would have been one on one, but it's still double what you would have got from one on one. And there's more fun when there's more people,
That
right? If
too.
you go to a party and you're it's not as much fun as you look around the places hopping, right? And the same thing on LinkedIn, and plus the other
Yeah.
thing is you don't want to be dependent one on one, because if you don't show, nothing happens. If they don't show, nothing happens. But if you have 10 people in a group, and people will be busy, but the main thing is there's community, and
Yes.
with community, there's comfort and safety if it's the right community. And there's something to look forward to, because you're not, like you mentioned, doing it on your own. It's lonely. It doesn't have a lot of context or perspective, so people can get overwhelmed, people can get angry, people can take things personally. There's so many landmines out there that if you don't know where they are and you don't know how to avoid them, you don't have to suffer. So, and the key is there's a whole lot of people on LinkedIn, what I learned, which was unfamiliar to me being in business, where every day I was making something happen. I didn't have the luxury of like waiting. And
Hmm.
the two things I noticed is people are not players, where they talk a good game, but when it says, okay, time to engage, well, this, that, other people are lazy. which they know what to do, they can do it, but they choose to do it on their schedule. And
Mm-hmm.
then what's even more challenging is a lack of sense of urgency, a
Yes.
lack of taking advantage of a great opportunity. You know, it's almost like someone gave you a gold mine and all you start with is a pick and a shovel, right? And you say, hey, how do I get a bulldozer in here? You know,
Yep.
how do I get a construction team? And the thing is why not? Because here, if you can't do it right to do it, how are you going to do it right and do it? So
Yes.
essentially, you got to start planning. You know, it's like what happens when the dog catches the car. You know, what does the dog do? The same thing. What happens when you get your goal and you find out you're not ready for it, or now you got to do this special construction project around it, and then you're just you, and eventually it just says, let's go back to what we were doing. You know, it's easy, it's comfortable, and I think that's the key. Is you need to build community through workout buddies, right? Somebody will get you going when you wouldn't, and vice versa. And then you ramp up together. And then what happens is you distinguish yourself individually as part of a better group, right? So when you show up with 10, you know, just like you say, you're on 5 different networks right now, but you're doing the same thing. So you're multiplying your amplification, just like if you had 5 people in front of you, you have 5 networks that might have who knows how many people. And that's the thing is you want, and here's what I do, which is fun because when I think back, all these relationships I met and the comments I've got, I never asked for anything. I
Nope.
mean, I never sold anything. I was
Yep.
just into meeting thought leaders and helping them. And when they knew that there was no ulterior motive, where everything was out front, then they would let their guard down and say, okay, here's what I'm doing. And what happens is you get updates. That's where the beauty is. So you look back and say, well, I talked to this person 4 times over 2 years and we got along great, but it wasn't the right time. I didn't have the right opportunity and vice versa. But if something does come up, then when you finally get back to them and say, hey, I remember we were talking about this. I just discovered this. I thought you'd be interested. You know, tell me what you think. And that's so simple because here's the other thing. Everybody loves for someone to say, tell me what you think. They hate to say, here's what you should do. You know, and there's another saying that says, if you're looking for advice, ask for money. And if you're looking for money, ask for advice.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, but it's so true.
Oh, that's perfect.
So that's really, but you see, that's the beauty of being in business for 37 years for myself and being entrepreneurial and dealing with people at the highest level for real big money.
Yeah.
You know, this is pocket change what it cost on LinkedIn, but it's time intensive. And you
Mm-hmm.
got to ask yourself, not what do I have to do, but what do I need to get to? And then you could figure out what you need to do. What's passionate, what's something that you just wake up early for, stay up late for, you know, and if that's your target, then it's all filling in the gap. It's like writing yourself a check that's $1 million 2 years from now, right? It's your job now to find $1 million to cash it. But at least you know it's there if you can do what you have to do. And I think that's the key is there's got to be something bigger than people themselves.
Yes.
And the only way to do it is with other people because people come for your message, but they stay for you. And after a while, it doesn't matter what you say. You know,
Yep.
if you had Mick Jagger right now talking about baking cakes, he'd get a huge audience. It has nothing to do with music, but it's
Mm-hmm.
personality. And the thing about LinkedIn is they never tell you how much is too much. They never say, slow down, you got 10 LinkedIn lives today. They don't care. But here's the thing is if you can't be good, you can be big,
Yeah.
right? Until you get good, or you can get big and good get bigger and better. So the point is visibility is everything.
Yes.
You know, I'm doing probably 12 to 14 LinkedIn lives a day. I mean, not a day, a week. And that'll probably go up by another 10 or so,
Yeah.
right? Because if you're the only one who's
Yep.
always there,
Yep.
and then you get there with people.
Yeah.
So what they like about you, now they like about the choices you make with who you show up with. And now you're a conduit. So again, it's saying how many boxes can I check off for value? If I compliment somebody sincerely and it's genuine, well,
Yeah.
that's a benefit to them, and it's a benefit because to me because it's a benefit to them. If I include them on my stuff, here's another thing: is I can go back to anybody now and say, "Would you love to be on my LinkedIn Live show?" Everybody would say yes,
Yeah.
right? It's a free opportunity, it's a promotion, but I'm saying that's one way of repurposing all the connections you have, you know, and ultimately your value should be in your ability to facilitate. Now, whether that's connections, whether it's referrals, whether it's being an affiliate, whether
Mhm.
it's organizing, and that's really what I'm doing is now I got 2 collaboration groups going. And I'm looking now at a LinkedIn Live collaboration group because the group should be focused on specific areas. If you get
Mhm.
into a collaboration group and someone's doing emails and someone's doing something else, but they're all focused on something, it's not the same as being in the same thing because this medium allows people to group up. Now, here's another thing that I was thinking about and just came to mind is what if there were 4 more people here? Now you're on 6 feeds, right?
Yes.
And how far
Yes.
does that go? So if you look at tagging, and I was doing 120 tags a day, my restream looks like it goes to 10 and it can go beyond that. How cool would that be to even have collaboration meetings being restreamed? So the
Yes.
meeting itself could be a learning opportunity and a sharing opportunity. And that's the other thing is every time I do a LinkedIn Live, I parse it and do a post from it the next day. So now I'm
Mhm.
getting 2 posts out of maybe a 12-minute video. So anyways,
Mhm.
what do you think, Tara? This is pretty cool, fascinating stuff we're putting out there.
I know, I love it. You hit on so many topics, but one of them, and I just wanted to reiterate this after our last call that you hit on, top of mind awareness, so crucially important. How many connections do we have, right? How many of those connections post once a month or once every couple of weeks or whatever? They're not top of mind awareness. We forget. People forget.
Mhm.
We have very short attention spans. This has been proven. By posting, by using multimedia approaches like what we're doing right now, by collaborating, you're staying at top of mind awareness. Then it becomes an association. So it goes from Don's a connection to, oh, this is Don. Don has a show every day. Oh, great. Let me tune in. To Don is a valuable connection. I need to reach out to Don. What does he do? To I want to do business with Don, or I want to introduce Don to someone, or I want to comment more with on Don's feed, right? It's about top of mind awareness and just intrinsically going into other networks, just like what we're doing right now with multi channels, and just staying at the top of people's mind. Because again, you only have just so many seconds for first impression, and then people forget. If you want to stay at the top of people's consciousness and awareness, you have to continually put yourself out there, and you have to do it and just do it. And LinkedIn Live is not a comfortable place for a lot of people, but honestly, the only way you get better is through reps. It's like you said, taking your
Mhm.
making sure you have an accountability buddy when you're going to the gym and working out. It sounds so easy, so simple, but it's so helpful. So today, this was perfect example. I had an appointment cancellation. I knew I could count on Don, gave him 15 minutes notice and said, "Hey, Don, guess what? My appointment canceled. Do you want to go live in 15?" Of course you were like, "Sure, why not?"
Mhm.
It's being adaptable too, being adaptable to things. So when other people reach out to you, I'm not saying drop everything that you're doing. If you have time and you have time, then you need to use that time to get exposure for yourself, because no one is going to market for you. No one is going to market for you. There's nothing egotistical about this. There's nothing inflammatory about this. You, in order for you to stay top of mind awareness, you have to put yourself out there and collaborate with others and be adaptable with things, so that if people say, hey, would you want to do this, get out of your comfort zone and try something new, don't you think?
Well, I think once you have a habit
Yes.
of change, whatever that ability to change is in whatever direction, is important to know that whatever you did yesterday, you can still do tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So whatever you try new today doesn't have to, it's not concrete.
Yeah.
So the question and the game is always between you and yourself. It's not only why, but the question is why not? You know, and what's easy to do is easy not to do. So in most cases, I always found, you know, buying more vowels to solve the puzzle is the way I would go if I was on Wheel of Fortune. You know, whenever I didn't know anything, I would go to a bookstore, or now I go to YouTube or Google, because, you know, even if I know something, why not, you know, I can go to YouTube and in 45 minutes watch the top 10 videos on any subject. And in 45 minutes, I've got context, I've got experience. And why wouldn't you, you know, why wouldn't you do that? And that's the key. Everything that it takes to be successful has a lot to do with common sense. It has a lot to do with respect. It has a lot to do with gratitude. You know, it's all these intangibles that you
Yeah.
don't see on a profile. It doesn't relate to followers. It doesn't relate to content. It relates to who you are. And if you're not a good person, if you're not authentic, you're not going to do well on LinkedIn. That's the key. If you're always keeping score and figure out what did I give out, what did I get back in too short of period of time, and you're going to start changing your methods every day, you know, it's just like shooting in the dark versus just putting your head down, committing to something, committing to people. And that's the other thing, until people put some money into something, they have no responsibility. Once they put $1 down, now they got something at risk. Now they made a commitment. And that should be a reason why they do better. I knew a guy who, I didn't follow his philosophy, but his philosophy was get as deep in the debt as you can for everything that would make you happy. And then every day you wake up, you have no choice but to figure out how to get the money for it, you know? And some people work well under that type of pressure, other people can't. But the thing about LinkedIn is really getting with someone who you can have a consultation with, whether you're a business, whether you're a strategic partner, a service or product provider. You know, that's really the key. And too many people are looking for the check in the mail before they've done anything. So they write a post, they think someone's going to comment, give them an offer, and they neglect to see that you know, there's another point that's important. It's not only who they are, but who they know. So you look at the book of the cover and you say, hey, this person's, you know, he's a telephone technician somewhere and got 20 connections. But maybe one of the 20 is Bill Gates, right? Maybe he's a nephew. Who knows? The point is, until you really dig deep, do you know what you've got? And if you do communications that can be generalized using templates, right? You can cover 20, 30 people really quickly. And at that point, you see what you got. And it's no different than fishermen are pulling their nets in every night, right? They some got lobsters and some got rocks. Who knows what goes in there? But the point is, LinkedIn is the same way. So, you know, I think everybody in the audience, and hopefully people who see it live and share it with other people, see that we're really into this, that we really think deeply about it, and that we are personalizing things to the individuals and the groups versus making a square peg go into a round hole and
Mhm.
being able to come up with absolute universal strategies that when you got 900 million people, there's probably a crowd of jerks who are just waiting for more jerks, right? So even if you're an awful person, there's probably a lot of awful people that like you that you can connect to. But hopefully that's not who we're looking for. And if you like the show, please comment. Please reach out to me or Tara. You can go to our LinkedIn profiles. Love to hear from you. Love to hear new topics that might be of interest. And if you're looking to get involved with both of us or either one of us, please reach out. You know, we're very accessible, and what we're saying live is what we're doing after we go live. So we're the real deal. Tara, what other thoughts do you have before we close up?
Yeah, just be your authentic self. I think you said it so well because again, that energy that you put out is exactly what you'll get back, right? So it's important, as you said before, follow people that are a couple steps or more steps, ahead of you, and then be your authentic self. So follow what they're doing, but then put your own spin on it as well. And no matter what, just stay authentic to you, and if there's something that you're passionate about, I promise you that somebody else is out there too saying, "Gosh, I wish I could find my tribe." Well, that's how you find your tribe. And
Mm-hmm.
I have found my tribe on LinkedIn many times over just by sharing things that I'm passionate about, things that inspire me. And it's the little things. I didn't know some of these posts would take off the way they did. But my gosh, when you put yourself out there and when you share your experiences, people come in. People are
Mm-hmm.
attracted to that. And that's how you get genuine connections that really do support you. Because, it's great to have millions of connections or thousands and thousands, but do they support you, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
even know who they are? Tap into those connections by giving something of yourself. And generally, that is sharing your story. I think it's so powerful, Don.
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing is when you say something, you listen to it also,
Yeah.
right? And you don't know what you're saying until it just came out of your mouth. Nothing we're doing has been programmed. So
Yep.
you learn just from what you do, and you learn even more by who you do it with. And the idea is who can be creative enough to think of the new opportunities that one can repurpose LinkedIn into. You know, if you're true to the platform and you figure out how to leverage it, and LinkedIn Live to me is the hottest, best thing going, is how many people out of 900 million could use even 30 days worth of help and experience. And you know, the reason why most people don't do things is because either they don't know how or they don't have confidence. And
Yes.
by attaching with someone
Yes.
who's doing it, who's passionate about it, and if they're excited enough about it, maybe you'll get even more excited with them. And I
Hmm.
think that's the key to leadership. Leadership is defined as having people do things they couldn't or wouldn't have without you, right? And all you have to be the stimulus, you know, to get people rolling. And, you know, there's so many people, and that's so important about recognition and support, who get none of it. They can
Yes.
go through their whole day and no one will compliment them about anything.
Hmm.
And there's plenty to compliment because people are just either focused on themselves or
Hmm.
they feel strange or unfamiliar to say something really pleasant to somebody because maybe it's not tough enough or maybe whatever their persona is. But if there's a, a reservoir of need,
Yes.
of value, you see, it's not only giving value, it's making people feel valuable, right? Giving
Hmm.
a gift to someone who doesn't know what it is or can't use it is a gift from you to them, but it's not a gift to themselves. So the thing is that really, if you're strong and you can do more than your part,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a guy who'll do 90% to get the job done and not concern myself because I can do it.
Yep.
Right? Why would I wait for someone who can't or can't do it right? And and that's the key. If you're working with a sense of urgency, no one waits for anybody. The game plays, you got to keep moving. Once you stop, then someone else takes your spot. But I think those are the things. So it's kind of now looking at more like life coaching, business coaching combined into LinkedIn coaching, because you got to work on the person, you got to work on the professional, and
Yes.
then you got to work on the application. And if you can do that all, you're missing a great opportunity by not teaching, by not being on LinkedIn, by not building your own collaboration groups.
Yep.
But if you don't want to do any of the three, then it's an opportunity to start figuring out who do you want to, work with, team up with. So with that said, I know we could talk forever. I know the average person watches this for about 3 minutes. So we've gotten 13 different groups. But hopefully if you liked it, comment, share, reach out to either one of us, and look forward to our next LinkedIn Live together, Tara.
Awesome. Always a pleasure, Don.